Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. Today, I am joined by, and I said I'm going to mess this last name up. So I'm going to let you say your last name, but I have Danielle with me,
Marita. Yeah.
Marita, who is the author of Bubble C.
Mhm.
And this is actually a children's book, and I'm so glad for such a time as this that I have an author on the show whose writing is geared towards children because I believe that the concept of reading is really something that has been lost for the last couple of generations, and I really think we need to bring it back. Primarily because I learned if you want to hide something from people, put it in a book because we're not going
Mm.
to see it.
I like that, and also that's sad, right? Because they're not reading books, but yeah.
Well, and then I guess, with technology and all of
Mhm.
that, I think that has helped, but it also has hindered the ability to want to read. Now, I'm an
Yeah.
old school reader, so I do have um, physical books.
Mhm.
But because I'm also a busy person, I have books on my iPad, on my Amazon Kindle. I also have audiobooks just because sometimes I read a book and in the first chapter, like I'm looking at the book, I'm like, you need to hear the author reading this book, and I'm taking notes and I'm reflecting.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm crying. I'm definitely sharing things that I've learned from books from others because I really want to see us all win, and we can't win if we withhold information.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
why don't you tell our listening, viewing audience a little bit about you and your background and where you went to college? Because I saw that you went to a
Okay.
school that my cousins went to, very popular HBCU.
Yes, so I graduated Howard University, studied journalism there, and I loved writing before that, before going to school. But while I was there, I was really focused on news writing. So I kind of interned at BET. I'm in DC, in the DC area. So BET was out here and got to do a lot of great things there, wrote for the news, the radio news. And then kind of just started getting older and news wasn't quite as fun anymore, and then became a parent and kind of fell off of writing and was just doing more sales type jobs and random things here and there. But as my kids, we started getting a home library or some books at home. I obviously noticed the lack of diversity there. And that's when it was like, oh, maybe I should put kind of two and two together and try more creative writing and do things for kids. So that's when I started writing children's books. And the focus is with diverse characters that look like my children. And kind of like you were mentioning earlier, too, they're all based on fun, joy, and imagination. So um, I just need them to learn to love to read. And that is something that is lacking across the board. So I really try in all the books that I write to spark some kind of excitement that make kids want to keep reading because it's a struggle out there.
It is. And something funny, I was just thinking about myself where whenever I leave the house, other than I go to water aerobics every day at 10 o'clock, but
Mhm,
other than that, when I leave the house, I have a book with me at all times.
mhm,
And as I'm looking at the news and looking at delays in air travel, hurricanes, I'm thinking, I would not want to be in those situations, but if I were, I definitely would have a book or two to help take me away
mhm.
from what's happening so that, honestly, so that I don't allow sadness and depression to creep in, right? I have something that's going to challenge me to learn and grow and keep me stable.
Yep. Yep, I agree. I think for me too, the very first book I wrote is about Santa. It's the holidays. And because my family and I are, cross country. And so there are some times when we can't get back to Seattle from the East Coast, and teaching my kids kind of about that comfort and the traditions that we have, we can still do them here even though we're far away. And so it's that same kind of thing, how to cope in kind of some stressful situations, or COVID era where everyone's locked down and you can't see people, or things like that. Those things for kids are big, just like they're big for us. And having books that can remind them of those, fun, playful things that they used to do, or kind of not let them think about the scary things that are going outside and scary things that are happening around the world, and just make them feel good. I think that's a good place to start with them turning into us as adults, where we love to read and we still use it as a form of escapism for whatever good that might be.
Absolutely. So I was thinking back to when I was younger, and you mentioned about the lack of diversity in books. So here's me. I'm the first child. So I'm in Chicago. My mother would not let me go outside. Now, this is in the 70s. She would not let me go outside. And so I didn't really have a lot of books of my own, but my mother had books. So imagine the younger version of me. I'm sure I probably was like 10 or 11. And I
Mm.
literally was reading books like Flowers in the Attic,
Mm.
Petals in the Wind. And what's interesting is that a lot of those books have become movies recently.
Uh-huh.
But I did remember having this book. And this is so funny how I'm 52 and I still remember this. There was this one book where the author it was a book about girls, and it was like, we must increase our bus. And it was like,
Oh, yes. And with the
yes. And so those memories are ingrained in my mind, but I really wish I would have had books to show me girls who look like me,
Mm.
who, as a kid, for example, wanted to be um, an astronaut, and then they became an astronaut, right? Because
Mhm.
I think that a lot of times as kids are getting older, they don't really know what they want to do when they grow up. And while many of us have these networks of people who we can tap into to help
Mhm.
them with mentoring and shadowing, everybody doesn't have that. And so I think about the kids that are in underprivileged areas who don't have any guidance, and a book could literally give them insight into the world that we are all experiencing. And so I'm happy that you've taken on this charge, and can't wait to see what other books you continue to come up with, because the kids need some help besides the cell phone.
Yes, yes, amen. Well, and so that's ultimately why I've published now 5 books, kind of starting at a younger age from when my kids were younger, and then up to my first like early chapter book. Um, and and then I started a publishing company that's for Black writers. So, Books and Things Publishing is, now we have not only children's books, which is where we started, but then we ultimately started having, adult fantasy, adult suspense. We have a political drama. So it's fun now watching our library just grow, and they're all growing with Black authors and Black characters, and these stories that there aren't enough of. We're definitely better than we were when we were kids, right? Um, but unfortunately, the publishing industry, as you know, is not diverse in a way that we need it to be. So that's kind of where I was like, okay, well, what can I do if I want to do something? So that's where Books and Things Publishing started, and so we're just trying to make a space for fellow Black writers who want to get their stories out there.
So are you working with kids as well who are writing books?
I am. So actually, I also mentor and coach. So I have a couple of kids. I think the youngest have been 10 and 12, that I will kind of meet with, and they'll show me their stories, and we'll go over their stories and kind of talk about the whole process. We've actually published twin girls who were 14 when they published their book. So we have some young authors within our publishing company as well who have fully published. And yeah, we support young writers, middle-aged writers, old writers, everybody.
And you know what? I really believe that everyone has a story inside of them. And I think there's this stigma associated with um, who's going to publish your book, right? Like, um, as a person, have this vision of having a New York best time seller, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things that has been, I'm not going to say keeping me up at night, is what that path looks like to get there. Because what I've noticed that a lot of the books that you see their books in the airport window right as you're going from one to your gate, is that they are individuals who have this large platform.
Mhm.
They were previously in some top-notch position. They were in political office, right?
Mhm.
They were a part of a scandal, and so
Mhm.
they write a book. But I believe that there are many of us out there that have good stories that the world needs to hear about, and
Mhm.
so I'm actually on a mission that for my next book that it gets worldwide distribution, because I am very confident that the message that's in the book applies to everybody, no matter what you look like, where you came from. It's something that can apply to everyone. So I kind of have made it a personal mission
I love that.
to fight through those barriers. But I've also really thought about what could I do to help kids, like in the elementary school. Like back in the day, you used to could go and like read at the kids' school and different things
Mhm.
like that. And so one of my goals for 2026 is to figure out, just starting in my own community, how can I offer for free?
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of time the barrier is everybody wants to get paid for everything, and everything is not about getting paid. For
Mhm.
me, it's about having an impact. But I really want to be able to reach kids in elementary school. Not that high school is too late, but high
Mhm.
school, they kind of got their own little.
Yeah, yeah.
But in elementary school, I really want to go around and just share my love of reading, encourage young people to write. I
Mhm.
do believe that a lot of times there are so many stories inside of us, stories that we need to reveal so that we can heal.
Mm.
But there's this perception of a barrier that stops us.
Mhm. Yep. And it's not there. I mean, I think it's ourselves that stop us more than anything else, right? We see how other people are doing things, or we assume, oh, well, they're published with, Penguin Random House, and they're the ones giving them the platform, and they're the ones doing the things. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, that might be a little bit true, but I've also seen other self-published authors or other authors who go out and make a way themselves. You knock on every door, you go talk to all the local stores and local business owners, and you start on a smaller level, and that can ultimately grow too. So it can be done. It's just going to take the work. And I think that's the difference between the folks that don't ultimately publish, right, and the folks that do, is that we want it bad enough, and we'll make it happen. You'll make it happen. You'll get around the world. You'll
Yes,
talk
and you
to
know what's so
students.
funny, because I'm like living, sleeping, drinking, eating this vision of how to get there,
Yeah.
because I know I can't get there without a plan. And so I
Mhm.
literally I'm literally still writing the book, but am aggressively working on the plan for distribution and visibility, across the US and beyond, and
Mhm.
really being strategic. I think a lot of times we don't succeed in the areas that we want to as well as we want to, because we lack vision, we
Mhm.
don't have a plan. But then also, we don't surround ourselves with other individuals who can help you say, you know what? Did you consider XYZ?
Yep.
No, well, this is what I recommend, and I've seen it work.
Yep. I know we need to be better about networking and asking questions. I think we get too competitive with each other and with ourselves. And then you're afraid to ask. But honestly, this community too, whether that be on social media or folks that I meet out at different vendor events, have all been the kindest people and the most giving. And as long as you're open enough to have a conversation, people are going to talk to you. And if someone doesn't, move on because the next person will.
Yes. Yeah, I read something that said comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm,
I think that's how it goes. But something that I realized as I was working on my next book, specifically about comparison, we allow someone else's highlight reel on social media to make us think that they have it all together. And honestly, a lot of times they don't have it together.
mm,
But what they do have together is their persistence
yep.
in just putting themselves out there, even if it's not perfect.
Yep. Yep. All the time. I see that all the time.
So I gotta ask a question. So you wrote the books for your kids.
Yes.
Have you engaged your kids in writing a book?
I talk to them about it all the time, and a lot of times over the summer, that'll be something that we do where, because they're so my kids now are 13, 10, and 7. So what we did, for example, last summer is instead of just writing a story just in one day, right? It's like, okay, this summer, write a little bit each day and expand on the story, make it a bigger story. So I have one of them that gets into it. The others are kinda like, that's your thing, mom." So, I try not to push, but I do, try to make sure books are everywhere, which I understand is fully a privilege, but letting them see books where they can. We go to the library often. I, like you, have take a book everywhere. I'm always reading. I just want them to see me looking at a book as much as they see me on a phone, because it's not realistic to say I'm not going to be on a phone. It's not realistic to not scroll. Like these are all things that are going to happen. But for as much as they see that, I need them to see me, to catch me reading, right? So I think that's very important to help them want to keep reading, want to keep writing. Um, I'll share this though. So a couple of my books, well, all of my books are kind of about my kids. So we have Bubble Sea, which is one because I have one child that absolutely loved tub time and another who hated it. So one who you just couldn't stand it. So this one is kind of a story that I hope makes it more fun. This kid pretends to be a pirate and, go in the bathtub and he's fighting rubber ducks and his cat, who if we, know cats, they hate water, but his cat is his fluffy first mate. And so it's just these adventures and so I try to make it exciting for my kids so they want to read it. And then in doing that, I find that other kids will like to read it and they'll find it interesting. Um, I have another kid, so this is Mr. Maloof. This one is about my middle child who is super goofy and we play pranks on each other. So like it starts out and he's popping out and hiding behind, the shower curtain. His mom goes into the bathroom and he pops out, or, she's trying to fold laundry and he's under the rug, things like that. And both of these two stories are done in rhyme too, which I think helps them connect with the stories. And so just trying to really get them to connect and then hopefully let it grow to then when they get older, I have a first chapter book. And this one too is because as kids are reading, there are a lot of books for girls. Now, I have my youngest is a daughter, so I finally got a book for her too. But my oldest two are boys. So this one's about the tooth fairy, and it's a boy who ends up catching the tooth fairy and finds out that the tooth fairy is a boy and it's actually a fair he. So, we tie in things like, basketball, and his shoes look like Jordans, and trying to make it exciting for the kids to read, and something that they'll want to pick up. So we make it fun and we make it silly, and hopefully these connect and we'll keep going.
Well, I think you are definitely on the right path. Now, I don't know if how much time you spend on TikTok. I realize that I am spending too much time on TikTok. And not because I'm watching silly stuff, but because sports, little sports clips are on TikTok. So I love
Mhm,
sports. But I also have seen recently elementary school teachers, and there's one in particular, Miss D. I don't know if you've ever seen her videos,
uh-huh.
but um, she literally has her class engaged, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that there are some partners out there for you where you can take the book, bring it into the classroom, and really just help s- kids develop that love for reading because you and I both know everything in life that you do involves you reading something. And a
Yes.
lot of times we skim through it, right? Like I'm in healthcare. So a lot of times people go to the doctor, they have you fill out those forms and they're like, oh, this is just for you to say that you authorize us to treat you. But it also says that you're going to pay this bill. If
Right,
your
on
insurance
time.
company doesn't pay, we can release your medical records. It's all this information that's in there. And a lot of people don't take the time to read it. But then
Mhm.
when you get the bill in the mail and they're like, well, you signed the paper on XYZ date, we're
Yeah.
mad, but we should be mad at ourselves because we didn't take the time to read.
Yes, yes.
And I
Mm.
I also learned recently, I do a lot of cruises. So in the when you sign up for the cruise, apparently, and I said my next cruise, I'm gonna read every line. There's
I've
all
heard
this
scary things about this.
language. There's
There's
this
what?
language in the cruise that basically none of us have paid attention to about things you can and cannot do and what they can do, and just all this language that you're just
Mm.
like, I'm going on a cruise, but you need to read the cruise contract because you don't want to be the person who's left on the island and
Yes,
you're trying to get back home.
yes. They will leave you in another country.
Yes. And then it's like, what do you do? And a lot of people don't realize it's different when you
Yeah.
are out of these 50 states.
Yes.
So, what does the future hold for you?
Well, hopefully a couple of things. We're looking to have a few more authors sign up. We're looking specifically for more romance authors and some suspense, mystery, thriller authors so we can add to our growing adult book section with Books and Things Publishing. For myself personally, I have a couple of books that I have been working on, and I just signed with an agent and they're in submission. So I'm also trying to learn that side of the publishing world too. So I do, all the self-publishing, but it was important to me, especially since I'm coaching people, that I know all of the things and understand all of the hardships. So I'm working with the agent and, like I said, have those on submission. But because I've self-published and I have a publishing company, if it doesn't work that way, I'm just going to do it myself.
Oh my gosh. So you are it's so funny we're having this conversation. First of all, one of the things and I say this all the time, I'm going to continue to repeat it. Every author who comes on, I would say 98%, we've never met each other. But we're able to have a conversation about something that we have in common that we love. But as I'm thinking about my next book, which all of my books I have gone through a publishing company, an African American publishing company. But as I mentioned to you, I want
Mhm.
to see my book in the airport and all these different places. And so you just kind of gave me a confirmation that basically it's going to get there. And I'm not going to worry about the how. I'm just going to worry about who's going to help me get it done.
Yes. Yep. It will get there. Absolutely.
So, other than books, what about plays or something like that for kids?
So that's funny you say that because I've been thinking about that. I was a theater minor at Howard. And so my girlfriend of mine, her kids are very into theater, and I obviously was. And she was like, "Oh, you should just, see if you start at schools. If a school will do one of your books as a play or start writing plays and see about community theater." So that's new in the thought process. I think that would be amazing, especially so this one that I didn't share either, but this is my bestseller, and it's since the holidays are coming. It's the holiday after, and it's about Santa's family and how they celebrate their traditions the day after Christmas. So it's a little bit unique and different in the realm of Christmas stories. So that's the one that I get asked about the most of what's coming next for that one. What are you doing with that one? And so maybe that's one I'll work on seeing if I can get someone to do a holiday little play for it.
That would be so cool. And you know why I think it would be so cool? Number one, our kids need something to do besides the cell phone. And I think a
Mhm,
lot of the times there's just so many barriers to getting it done. And so whether it's with a school or a community center, right? It's something that's definitely needed. And my husband and I talk about this all the time. Our youngest daughter wanted to go to acting school,
mhm,
and my husband was like, no, no, right?
mhm,
But she's 20, she'll be 27 before the end of this year. And so as we look at her, she's in healthcare. I don't know why, but uh,
mhm.
as we look at her, she definitely could have been an actress.
Mm,
I mean, she can do all these different impersonations and different voices.
mhm,
And I think a lot of times we rob our kids of their dreams because of our own personal limitations.
mhm,
And so, I really want to see our kids win. It pains my heart to see what some kids go through at 12.
mhm.
At 52, I haven't even seen any parts of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, I really wanna be a part of the movement to help our kids, be able to dream bigger and just see life outside of their zip code. You know, there's a lot
yep,
of kids who never leave Chicago.
yep,
And so
yep.
I want to see that change. So this episode, which will air closer towards the end of the year, will be your accountability partner to figure out how to get your book into a play form. And I know a few people in DC, my cousins who actually went to Howard. Um, they're from Chicago, but they love the area so much, so they are still there.
Yeah.
And they are educators, but they're also artists. And
Oh,
so they do a lot of live painting for different events. And so,
okay.
there's a lot of things that can happen with your book. A live painting while the book is being read.
Oh, that would be awesome. That's pretty
So,
cool. That's a fun idea. I know.
yeah,
I do like with children's books. I mean, you can do it with any books, but with children's books, the creativity level and what you can do. And I've gone and done things at, some of those like clay paint places, or done things at, cake decorating places, and kind of making it align with the book. So we'll see. I like that. That'll be on my 2026. My vision board is sitting right here for 2025. So I need my new one coming for 2026, and that'll be on it.
absolutely. I love it. So I look forward to seeing the fruits of all of your labor. And we are almost out of time. But before we go, two things I would like for you to do. Number one, tell our listening, viewing audience where they can find you. We know you're in DC, but the DC area, which a lot of you say you're in DC, but you actually live in
I'm
Silver
in
Spring.
Virginia. I'm
Okay,
in
right. You're
Virginia.
in Maryland, Virginia. So it's I probably easier just to say DC, but where
Yeah.
they can find you, where you kind of hang out in the social space.
Yeah.
But then also, um, I would love for you to appeal to that parent who has that kid that has that creative mind to encourage them to take that next step and potentially with you.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Okay, so my name is Danielle Marietta, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Danielle Marietta Books. My website is daniellemarietabooks.com. Now, if you're interested in publishing with Books and Things Publishing, or even just checking out all of our authors, all of our books, and the services that we offer, it's booksandthingspublishing.com, and Books and Things Pub on social. You can find us there for all of the things. And when you buy a book, please leave a review because they mean more than you know.
I love it. I love it. So, if a mom wants to, I know a couple of people who have little kids that have these really vivid imaginations. Now, of course, they can't write the adult book. I used
Mhm.
to read those too.
Yeah.
But I had to move away from those because I was getting too consumed with what was my guy from back in the day? Elon. What was his name? Oh my gosh. There was this author who just had me wrapped up in his books back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He's no longer with us, but his books were so good. Now I got to go look up his name to remember what his name was. But
Mhm.
I do wish you the best of luck with all of your endeavors,
Thank you.
and look forward to seeing plays and books and all types of things being produced under your brand because I'm rooting for you to win, especially since you want to help our future.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm rooting for you too.
Thank
We
you so
got it.
much. We got it. We do. Well, listen, everyone, this has been another amazing episode of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks. I'll see you next week. Bye bye now.
Thank you.